Hello, and welcome to our SIGNL4 onboarding series. Today we're going to go over the ability to have SIGNL4 route live incoming phone calls to your on-duty personnel, or instead of routing the live call, we can also take a voicemail and then create an alert and attach that voicemail and send that voicemail out to your on-duty personnel. So as we can see here, I've loaded up my SIGNL4 web portal and my mobile app, and in order to receive a phone number, first off, we have to be on the active trial or have a purchased, maximize, or above plan. And once we do that, we can then go under the call routing option here on the menu. And in my trial, I'm going to have an option to request the call routing trial, or if I've already purchased my maximize plan, we'll actually have the option to purchase a phone number here. So in order to request the call routing trial, I need to click on the button. What this is going to do, this is actually going to bring up an email that is going to be sent to our SIGNL4 support box where we enable the call routing for you. So once we go ahead and send that email up, it'll actually reach our SIGNL4 email box and we will enable this call routing trial automatically for you. So in this case, I've gone ahead and sent the email and I've enabled the phone number on my back end here. So if we refresh this screen, we'll actually see now that we have a phone line waiting to be assigned to one of our teams. So the next step here is for me to actually assign this to one of my active teams. So what I do here is I just click on the plus sign and we'll see here that I have the phone line options. And the first thing I want to do is I want to choose my country. Now, just as a note, all of the options on this page can be edited in a later date with the exception of this country. Once I choose the country and save it, this is locked in and I cannot change it at a later date. I'd have to delete the phone number and then re-add it to my team to be able to choose a different country. And at that point, I would have a whole different phone number as well. So when we choose the country of origin, make sure we're choosing the correct country here. So my purposes, I'm going to choose the United States. Next up after that, I have the options that stay editable even after I save it. But let's go over these here real quick. So the first one here is I have the phone number enabled. So allow for incoming calls to be made to this phone number at all. If this is turned off, then even though I have the phone number is not active and nobody can call that number. So we're going to leave this turned on for now. And then the next option down here is similar, but it's a little bit different. This is enable live call routing. And what this does is when it's turned on, if a user calls your phone number, they are going to automatically be routed to your on-duty personnel in a round-robin format, meaning, let's say if I have 3 people on duty for my team, user 1's going to get the first phone call, user 2 will get the second phone call, user 3 gets the third one, and then back to 1, 2, 3, and so on. And the only exception here is if it's user 1's turn and he is already on a phone call because his other phone call is taking this long, then in that case, what's going to happen is the user will leave a voicemail and then SIGNL4 will actually consume that voicemail and create an alert with that voicemail attached for your entire team to be able to see and act upon. And that is what happens if I disable my live call routing. Any users that call your number will automatically be sent to the voicemail box where they'll leave a voicemail and SIGNL4 will then pick up that voicemail, create an alert, and attach the voicemail for your users. So for my purposes right now, we're going to go ahead and leave this enabled. The next option is where I choose which team is going to receive the live phone calls. And this is a single select option here because it's only going to go to one team. So you can choose any one of your active teams. It does not matter which one you choose, just matters which team you want to actually receive the phone calls. And my purposes today, I'm going to go ahead and select the IT Ops team. Next up, we have the ability to create additional signals when these happen. And what we have is when a call is routed to a user, we're going to create a signal to let everybody know that, hey, we have a new phone call and it was routed to this user. They're handling it. As well as if the caller calls in and leaves a voicemail message, we're going to create an alert to let people know, hey, here's the user. This number called in. They left this voicemail. Please listen and handle as best you can. And then we also have the option to create an alert if somebody calls in and doesn't leave a voicemail. So in that case, we're still going to give them, hey, this phone number called in, but there was no voicemail, so we have no attachment to add. But here's the information for the user. Next up down here, we have the actual announcements. And this is what's going to be read out to your users when they call in. And as you can see, we have multiple different languages that you can choose from to be able to read these messages out in the language of your choice. And then we have the default voicemail here. And these messages are what is read to the user during these particular statuses of the phone call. So if somebody's coming in and leaving a voicemail, they're going to receive this message here. And then announcement while you're doing the call routing, SIGNL4 picks up the phone and is routing it to the on-duty personnel, but we read out this message to let them know we've received their call, we're connecting you to an agent, please wait. And then finally, if the call routing fails, such as your first user was on a phone call already, so he couldn't switch over and handle this one, that's when this third message here is going to be read out to your users, letting them know that the staff is busy, please leave a message after the tone again. And all of these are completely editable, so you can add any information or completely change these as you wish. Next up, we actually have our security down here. And when these are enabled, we will only allow users when they have the correct PIN number or if they are on the white list down here for allowed, or if they're not on the black list down here for blocked. So what happens if I enable my PIN number, I enter in a PIN, and anybody that calls in is going to start receiving these messages. So what we want to do is, if this is enabled, all your users that call in would have to have this PIN number or they will not connect to your on-duty personnel. Next up down here is the whitelist. Allow only certain callers. What this is going to do is this is going to block every single number that calls your phone line, with the exception of the numbers that are added here inside of this whitelist. So, and this is country specific, so we want to make sure we're choosing the correct countries. And then we add in the phone number and then give it a quick label here so that we know what this phone number is in relation to. And what this does is when this is enabled and this number is entered, if this number calls us, they'll be allowed through. However, any other number that calls us will not be allowed in. And then down here we have the block certain callers, and this is our blacklist, and this works the exact opposite. So what happens here is if I add a phone number to this list and that phone number calls our number, they will be blocked from leaving us a message or connecting to our users, as we don't want this number to reach us. Every number that's not on this list that calls us will be allowed through. It is just these numbers on this list that are going to be blocked and won't be allowed in. Okay, so now that we've gone over the options, I'm just going to go ahead and save my phone number here. And once this is done, we'll actually see that we receive a phone number that we can actually call here. And we'll also see here at the top how our country has disappeared up here, as that is no longer editable. So now I have somebody on duty over here. And as we can see here, he's the only user that's available on my IT ops team. So he's going to receive the phone calls as they come in. So next, let's actually see these incoming phone calls in action. So here is my SIGNL4 is getting a phone call from my end user, and it even shows the end user's phone number on the incoming phone call. So then when I accept it, now I'm actually connected to my user via this phone, and we can have the conversation back and forth so that we can help the user out live while he's on the phone with me. Now that my first user has answered this, if I did have another user that was on duty, if a second phone call came in, at any point, even when I'm off my phone and I finished talking to the customer, it's going to go to that second user instead of the first. Here we're seeing where SIGNL4 actually created the alert, and now I'm getting the alert notification via the phone call. And I'm going to go ahead and decline that so we can see this. And we actually see here is the alert for the call. So we show that it went to the IT ops team. Here's the phone number that gave us the call. It was routed to this duty member, which was myself. So now I can go ahead and acknowledge and then close that alert. And now what I want to do is I actually want to see what happens when the live routing is turned off, so the customer has to leave a voicemail. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and save that again. Now if my customer calls in, so my user called in, he left a voicemail, so I'm getting the alert letting me know that there was a voicemail left. Inside of my SIGNL4 here, we'll see that we have the new alert. And if I go ahead and open up this new alert, we get the same information. We have a call from this phone number. We see that it was not sent to a user, but it was recorded and the audio is attached as a voicemail. So if I scroll back down, here we have the actual recording for the user's message. And if I click on play, it actually plays the message for my call. This lets the user leave a message, us to receive the message, get the notes so we can work on it, and then give the customer a call back as soon as we have some information for them. Now, if we have no users on duty, this is going to work the same way as if we have the enable call routing live call routing turned off. So I'm going to go ahead and re-enable my live call routing, but I'm going to have my user go off duty for my IT ops team. So he stays on duty for the other two teams, but he's off for IT ops, which means I have nobody on duty on my IT ops team at this point. As we can see here, so it's going to tell him we might not be able to reach this team via phone. So if somebody now calls in, what's going to happen is my users will still receive the alert because we're still going to create the alert, and the caller is just going to be forced into the voicemail box because we have no available users. And we'll actually receive this message down here that the on-call staff is busy or unavailable. Please leave a message after the tone, letting us know that, hey, either everybody's on a phone call or nobody's on duty right now. So we'll please leave that message. We'll see that because I had nobody on duty, I actually escalated to another team. I'm just going to go ahead and close that one. Here is my IT ops alert, and it was recorded again from this user. And it even tells you that it was recorded and audio attached because nobody was on duty, letting you know that we had an incoming call, but nobody was on duty. So we just automatically took the message, and here's the alert with the message attached. So we can, again, handle the case, the user's issue, give them a call back as needed, and solve any issues that arose from the call. So this is how we can use call routing to route your live incoming phone calls to your on-duty personnel using a round-robin system, or we can take a voicemail and then create an alert with that voicemail and send that out to your team so they can then handle it that way, ensuring that all of your issues are handled in the most timely manner possible. Thank you, and have a nice day. Goodbye.